Let's think about Brexit and what the direct effects could be for the UK and the rest of Europe. So if the UK is about 1.5 million barrels a day demand and the rest of Europe's about 13, on our forecast, pre-Brexit event, we thought that the UK would grow about 25,000 barrels a day and the rest of Europe about 200,000 barrels a day. It's mature. Europe is mature. So let's run a bad case. Let's run a really low case. Let's just scrub UK and let's scrub the rest of Europe, okay? We have zero growth for the rest of the year. We take off 225 on our demand numbers, which are at 1.6, 1.65. We'd still be north of where the IEA is in terms of demand for 2016. So I don't think that Brexit, on a contained basis, is a direct challenge to the global oil system and therefore takes us maybe back into the 30s. The interesting question maybe is if Brexit is a sign that a butterfly is fluttering its wings that could lead to a global economic hurricane, that's a completely different situation. Probably above my pay grade to call there.
Interesting. We've been talking the last couple of days about Deutsche Bank out with this call, raising the odds of the U.S. tipping in a recession now up to 60% from 47% back in January. A, do you see this happening? And B, what would it mean for oil?
Again, well, let me answer in reverse. US recession, obviously, clearly bad for oil because it's a significant component of the global demand. However, how likely is it that you're going to see a recession in an election year? I'm not an economist at the bank, I'm the oil guy, but I would suspect it's probably lower rather than greater. So yes, if the US moved into a material recession in the next 3 months, that would be a negative signpost for oil. If, for example, we took our forecast down from 1.6 to less than 1 million, 800, 900,000, yes, a significant change, because in our world, we see balance between supply and demand right now, but it's on the back of robust demand and virtually no supply growth. If the demand element of that disappears, it's going to take us much longer to clear down the excess inventories, and that's probably what will lead us to higher prices as we go forward.
Okay, how much correlation is there right now between oil prices and dollar?
So, the dollar correlation comes and goes in crude, and so it's obviously highly correlated, but it depends where you want to look on where the dollar's going. You look at GBP USD, and of course the UK is getting punished terribly, and all Singaporeans are going to be taking holidays in London in the second half of 16, and not many Brits will be coming here. You look at SGD USD, it ain't moving. So yes, there is a correlation, but is it the primary driver to crude at the moment? I suspect not. I think what people want to talk about is US. Where is US production going to go? What are the Saudis going to do? An outlier, what is Libya going to do? You might have seen over the weekend that there was an agreement between the two factions of the oil producers in Libya. If they can actually materially come together and work together, the aim is to put another 700,000 barrels a day on the market by the end of this year. If that were to happen, that would push out the sweet spot by the better part of another 12 months.
Okay, so it sort of speaks to the fact that, despite U.S. production being there, it's the folks in the Middle East led by the Saudis. It's not so much how much you have, but how much influence you have on the price.
I think influence is exactly the right word, because if we go back and we think about how the Saudis reacted and why they came away from protecting price into instead protecting share, if the projections at the time had continued with US growth the way that we saw it 2 years ago, the Saudis would have had to have reduced their production by some 40% by 2018. I think relevance was exactly the point.